There are moments in life when you must pause and ask yourself, who is holding the pen to my story? Who is shaping my thoughts, fueling my courage, or draining my strength? Because whether you realize it or not, your contacts, the people who walk with you, laugh with you, cry with you, and whisper into your ear, are silently influencing the script of your destiny. It is not always the great tragedies of life that rob us of purpose. More often, it is the subtle presence of people who don't believe in us, who don't encourage us, who don't challenge us to grow, and yet we continue to keep them close. These are the silent killers of destiny. Think about it. You wake up in the morning filled with energy, vision, and enthusiasm. You are ready to pursue your goals. Then, with one conversation, one careless comment, one sarcastic remark, someone drains your fire. Suddenly you are questioning your path, doubting your abilities, and shrinking your vision. That is the power of negative contacts. They don't always confront your destiny head-on. Sometimes they simply whisper doubts that make you put your dreams on hold. And little by little, without you noticing, the fire that once burned so brightly begins to fade. I have seen people with immense potential give it all up, not because they lacked intelligence, not because they lacked resources, but because of the voices they chose to keep around them. I have seen young men give up on businesses because their friends told them, "It won't work." I have seen women abandon their visions because someone they trusted laughed and said, "You're not capable of that." I have seen gifted individuals bury their talents simply because the people closest to them could not see the greatness inside them. Let me tell you, the wrong voice in your ear is more dangerous than the fiercest storm outside your window. You see, life is built on influence. No one is truly immune. Every conversation you have is a seed, and every seed has the potential to grow into a tree that shapes your destiny. If you surround yourself with people who constantly speak fear, you will eventually live in fear. If you surround yourself with people who constantly complain, you will find yourself echoing their complaints. If you surround yourself with people who live small, think small, and dream small, then even without realizing it, you will begin to shrink your own vision. That is why you must take responsibility for your circle. You cannot expect to live a destiny of greatness while feeding on conversations of mediocrity. There is a reason why some of the greatest figures in history had to walk away before they could rise. Abraham had to leave his father's house before God could show him a new land. Joseph had to be separated from his brothers before his dream could manifest. Even Jesus, surrounded by crowds, chose to walk most closely with just a few, because he understood that not everyone should have equal access to your heart. Your destiny is too sacred to be entrusted to careless voices. But let me speak plainly. Breaking free is not easy. Negative contacts often wear familiar faces. They can be friends you grew up with, family members who raised you, or partners who once made you feel loved. And this is where many get stuck. We confuse longevity with loyalty. We think, "I've known them all my life. How can I walk away now?" But listen to me. Just because someone was part of your history does not mean they deserve to be part of your destiny. Some people were meant to be chapters, not the whole book. The tragedy is when you keep rereading old chapters, trying to make them fit into the new story God is writing for your life. Yes, it is painful to let go. Yes, it feels uncomfortable to walk alone. But solitude is not a curse. Sometimes it is the womb of transformation. Some of your greatest seasons of growth will come when you dare to step away from noise, from negativity, from the opinions of people who don't see what God has placed in you. Don't be afraid of being misunderstood. Don't be afraid of being called proud or distant or different. The truth is, people who are comfortable in chains will always criticize those who choose freedom. But your responsibility is not to appease their comfort. Your responsibility is to fulfill your calling. You owe it to your destiny to be selective with your associations. You owe it to your purpose to guard your ears, your heart, and your spirit. Some people should never have access to your deepest dreams. Not because you hate them, but because they cannot handle what you carry. If Joseph had kept confiding in his brothers, his dream would have died in his father's house. Some of you are bleeding vision because you are sharing it in the wrong environment. Not everyone who claps for you is cheering for you. Not everyone who listens to you is rooting for you. Some are only waiting to collect information they will later use against you. That is why discernment is crucial. And when you finally recognize who is draining you, you must have the courage to act. Courage, because walking away feels like betrayal. Courage, because silence feels like loneliness. Courage, because breaking free feels like breaking your own heart. But understand this. Staying in bondage is far more dangerous than the temporary pain of separation. The longer you delay, the heavier the chains become. And the longer you keep negative people close, the further you drift from the life you were meant to live. I know this from experience. There were seasons in my life when I wondered why progress felt so slow. I prayed. I worked hard. I planned. Yet doors remained closed. And then it struck me. The problem was not my effort. It was my environment. I was carrying dead weight. I was holding on to people who didn't believe, who didn't inspire, who didn't add. And the moment I began to release them, something shifted. Ideas began to flow, opportunities began to open, and destiny began to accelerate. Sometimes heaven is waiting for you to edit your contacts before it releases your blessing. And let me say this, cutting off negative contacts is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of stewardship. You are the custodian of your destiny. God has entrusted you with gifts, with visions, with assignments, and He expects you to protect them. You cannot keep entertaining voices that diminish your calling and expect heaven to take you seriously. You cannot say you value your purpose while allowing people to mock and belittle it in your presence. If your destiny matters, you must defend it. The moment you break free, something extraordinary happens. The silence that once felt uncomfortable begins to feel like clarity. The solitude that once felt lonely begins to feel like strength. And soon, new people begin to enter your life. People who challenge you. People who inspire you. People who push you to rise higher. But the new cannot come until the old is released. Your destiny is waiting for you to make room. So today I speak to you with urgency. If there are voices in your life that constantly remind you of your past instead of your future, walk away. If there are relationships that drain your energy instead of fueling your vision, let them go. If there are people who celebrate your failures louder than your successes, silence their access. You do not have to hate them, but you must distance yourself, because the cost of keeping them is your destiny. And that is too high a price to pay. Your future is too bright to be dimmed by negative company. Your vision is too precious to be drowned in careless conversations. Your destiny is too great to be aborted by wrong associations. Break free, my friend. Break free from the chains of negativity and reclaim the life God designed for you. The world is waiting for your light, your voice, your impact. Do not let it be delayed another day by those who do not see your value.